Hello yarn lovers! If you want to keep cozy this autumn, then I have just the pattern for you. Keep watching to learn how to crochet the Drifter Earwarmer. So you're going to need some chunky yarn, which is the equivalent of bulky in the US, some scissors, a darning needle, and both a 5 and a 6mm crochet hook. So I'm going to be making the adult size earwarmer today, but there are sizes from baby through to large adult. So if you want to check out all the yarn quantities and the details for the other sizes, please check out the blog post or the written pattern. So I'm going to start with the 6mm hook. So for the adult size earwarmer, you're going to start with a chain of 67. And we're going to start by working a single crochet in the second chain from our hook. So we're going to count 1, 2 in that second chain. Going to put a single crochet, and I'm going to continue with a single crochet in every single stitch. So you go ahead and work all of your single crochet stitches, and I will meet you back when we're ready for the next row. So once you've worked all the way along your chain, you should have a total of 66 single crochet. So we're now ready to start our next row. So we're going to chain 1 and turn. This chain 1, it doesn't count as a stitch. And in the first stitch, we're going to put a half double crochet. Our next stitch is going to be a front post double crochet. So if you haven't worked these before, I'm going to show you how to do that. You're going to yarn over as you would for a normal double crochet. Instead of working into the top of the stitch, which is here, we're going to go around the actual stitch, and we want our double crochet to sit at the front of the stitch. So we're going to go in to the right side of the stitch, around the back, and then come through out the left side of the stitch, and then we're going to finish off our double crochet stitch like so, and then our double crochet sits at the front of the stitch, and we're going to continue to do front post double crochet stitches all the way across until we get to that very last stitch. So you're simply yarning over, putting your hook around the back of the stitch, and then finishing off that double crochet so that it sits around the front. So you go ahead and work a front post double crochet into each stitch until you get to that very last stitch. So I've worked all the way across to the last stitch, and in that last stitch we're just going to put a half double crochet. Like so. And then we'll chain 1 and turn, and again this chain 1 doesn't count as a stitch. We're now going to put a single crochet into the very first stitch and a single crochet into each stitch all the way across. So I'm just coming up to the end of the row, putting a single crochet in each stitch all the way across, and then we'll chain 1 and turn. So the last 2 rows formed the pattern, and you're going to just repeat those 2 rows. So you're going to start with a half double crochet in this first stitch, and then a front post double crochet in each stitch all the way to the last stitch, and then you're ending with that half double crochet into the last stitch, chain 1 and turn, and then it's a single crochet row. So it's a very, very simple repeat. So for the adult size, you're going to repeat the last 2 rows 3 more times, and then you're going to repeat row 2 once more. So once you've finished off with that last row 2, which was a single crochet row, we're going to add our final row. So we're going to chain 1, again this doesn't count as a stitch, and turn. Now I'm just going to slip stitch into this first stitch, and then I'm going to work a front post single crochet around the post of our remaining stitches until we get to that last stitch. So it's very similar to the front post double crochet. You're just going to put your hook in around the back of that stitch, pull up that yarn and work your single crochet stitch. And we're going to do this in all of the stitches all the way across to that very last stitch. So that's a front post single crochet in each stitch. So once you get to that last stitch, we're just going to slip stitch in there and fasten off. Now you need to leave a long tail, so we're going to use that to sew the twist, sew the ends together for the twists. Now the wrong side of your ear warmer should look like this. It's very smooth, and when you turn it over, the right side has these almost like braided ridges running across it. So if you find you've got these little gaps at the end of your every other row, this is perfectly normal, so don't worry, you haven't made a mistake. And when we join our ends together and form the twist, this is going to be completely covered over. You're not going to see this at all. So you should have a total of 5 ridges, 1 2 3 4 5. That's how you know you've got the correct amount of rows for this size. So you want to have the right side of your work facing upwards. You're going to take the edges and fold them towards the center like so, and then you're going to want to fold these ends in half with the right sides together. So this is the right side, so you want to fold together like so, and you want to do exactly the same on this side. And then we're just going to slot these two pieces together. So you want the kind of ends to go into the fold here, and this end should end up in the fold here. You want to get all those ends together, and then we're going to just put this yarn tail onto our darning needle. And just hold all of these pieces together, and we're going to sew through all 4 of these layers. So just make sure that you're catching all of those layers, and you're just going to just go backwards and forwards. Through those layers. And then I like to just do an extra few stitches in whip stitch just across, just to make sure it's properly secured. You can then just tie a little knot by going through a loop, and then you can just weave in that tail and hide that inside that seam. So if you weave those tails in, then once you turn it the right way round, you get that really lovely twist at the front. Now we're going to add our ribbing next. Before we do that, you need to get a stitch marker. If you look at this edge of the headband, you can see this is our foundation chain here. This is going to be very slightly less stretchy than this side. So you want this edge to be at the top of your head, and this is the edge you want to add the ribbing to. So we're going to get a stitch marker, and we want to mark the center of the twist, and we want to just join those two pieces together. So you just want to find where they naturally cross over, and then mark those stitches. So we're going to go through the bottom and then just into the stitch where it crosses over, and you join those together with a stitch marker. Okay, so you've got your marked stitch. So this is the front, the center of the front of the headband. We're going to turn it over, and we're going to just find the center of the back, and this is where we're going to join our yarn to work our setup round for the ribbing. So with the 6mm hook, just going to turn this over. I'm going to put a slip knot on my hook, and just in the center I'm just going to join with a single crochet, and I'm going to start working a single crochet into each stitch all the way around. And I'm just going to work over this tail as I go. So keep working around with a single crochet in each stitch until you get to just before that stitch marker. So I'm just coming up to that marked stitch. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to work through both of these stitches together, and I'm going to put 3 half double crochets in there. So I'm going through both of those stitches. Let me just, I've got my hook in, so I'm just going to take the stitch marker out now. I'm going to put 3 half double crochets in there. So we've got 3 half double crochet going through both of those, and now I'm going to continue with a single crochet in each stitch all the way around. Once you've worked all the way around, we're just going to join with a slip stitch to that first single crochet, and we're now ready to start the ribbing. So I'm going to change to a smaller hook now. I'm using the 5mm hook, and for this size I'm going to chain 7. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We're now going to start working across those chains. So into the second chain from your hook, so that's 1, 2, I'm going to put a single crochet, and then I'm going to put a single crochet in each remaining chain. For a total of 6 single crochet. I'm then going to attach the ribbing to the edge of our ear warmer by slip stitching into the next 2 stitches. So that's 1 and 2, and then we'll turn, and we're now going to be working into the back loops only. So we're going to completely ignore those slip stitches, and in this first single crochet we're going to put single crochet in the back loop only, and we're going to do this all the way across. Single crochet in the back loop in each stitch. We're then going to chain 1 and turn. When I'm doing ribbing, I like to keep my chain 1 at this edge quite tight, and it helps to give you a neater edge. And we're now going to continue just repeating that with a single crochet in the back loop of each stitch. And then once you get to that last stitch, we're going to slip stitch in the next 2 stitches across the band of our headband. So that's 1, 2, and turn. And again, we don't work into those slip stitches, we're just looking for that first single crochet, and we're working in the back loops only. Single crochet in each stitch all the way across. So we're just going to repeat those last 2 rows until we've worked all the way around the entire headband. So I'll meet you back when we're ready to join the ribbing edges together. So I've worked all the way around. We just need to join these 2 edges of our ribbing together now. So to do that, I'm just going to turn inside out, and then I'm going to find this very first stitch here. So we're going through that bottom loop of the foundation edge, and then into the back loop of our first single crochet stitch on the other edge here, and we're just going to slip stitch, and then we're going to go into the next stitch and then in the back loop of that other stitch, and we're just going to join both these edges together with a slip stitch. And we're just going to do this all the way across. And once you've got to the end, you can fasten off and sew in those tails. And there you have your finished ear warmer. So if you enjoyed this tutorial, then why don't you check out my accessory playlist right here on YouTube. Take care, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye now.